The meeting room will come to order. We are now holding a meeting of the Streator FFA chapter. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they're at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and they are welcome. I care for the meeting room paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag comes the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people, every man, woman, and child, that the FFA is a national organization, reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands, and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington,
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements. Just as Washington kept his own accounts carefully and accurately, I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standings through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the year corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why by the
The
owl?
owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice is always based off true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the works of our organization. I preside in the meetings in the absence of our president, who spaces beneath the rising sun.
Why is the President so stationed?
The rising sun is a token of new era in agriculture. If we follow the leadership of our president, we shall be let out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers at the stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are 7 members and 7 guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this meeting of the Streator FFA chapter duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may promptly be presented. Is there any new business which should not be transacted?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Treasurer.
I move that the Streator FFA chapter host a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12, 2023 at the county fairgrounds.
second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that the Streator FFA chapter host a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12, 2023 at the county fairgrounds. This motion is debatable, is amendable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Treasurer.
As the maker of this motion, I rise in disagreement. It could be quite costly, and some kids have allergies, so I encourage the floor to vote no.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vice President.
As I do see Madam Treasurer's point, this is a very well point, because if we do get hurt, we might not be able to ever do this again for our chapter. So for that reason, I encourage you guys to vote no on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Reporter.
I'm in agreement with this motion, as this is fun and it can be for everyone of all ages. I strongly encourage you guys to vote yes to this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Secretary.
I disagree with this motion. I feel fighting the animals would be too difficult in order to have a fun time. So I strongly encourage everybody to vote no.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Madam Sentinel.
I agree with Mr. Reporter. As it can be fun, there is also ways that we can encourage the students to join FFA when they're older. So I encourage you all to vote yes on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Advisor.
I feel that this motion is a great motion for our grade school students because this can encourage those students to join FFA and become more interested in it by the time they make it to high school. And for that reason, I urge you all to vote with me on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vice President.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we postpone this motion indefinitely. This motion is debatable, is not amendable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Vice President.
As the maker of this motion, I encourage you guys to vote yes on this motion, as we don't really need to do much with the petting zoo, and it can be very dangerous for our local grade school. For that reason, I encourage you guys to vote yes on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Reporter.
I'm in disagreement with this. As we postpone this indefinitely, it will kill it, and we'll never be able to do this. I strongly encourage you guys to vote no to this.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Secretary.
I agree with Mr. Reporter. I would have loved to have an opportunity like this as a kid. So I strongly encourage everybody to vote no.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Advisor.
I feel Mr. Secretary is right. This could be a great and very fun opportunity for these kids. And for that reason, I urge you all to vote no on postponing this motion indefinitely.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Sentinel.
I rise in opposition to this motion. Completely killing this motion will defeat the purpose of being able to have a fun opportunity with the kids, so I encourage you all to vote no to this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Vice President.
I believe that most of these people are encouraging no to this motion are very deceptive about this motion because kids can be very rowdy at sometimes and they can get hurt while being around big animals or small animals that can be very dangerous to these little kids. So for that reason, I encourage you guys to vote yes on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Treasurer.
as I see Mr. Vice President's point, we could take safety precautions and talk to the kids before we have the petting zoo. So I encourage the floor to vote no on this motion.
Is there any more discussion? Discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, we will now move to vote. All in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Division.
Division has been called. We will now do a standing vote. All in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely, please rise. Thank you. All opposed, please rise. Thank you. Motion fails. The motion on the floor reads that the Streator FFA chapter hosts a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12th, 2023 at the county fairgrounds. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Secretary.
I move to have a 5-minute recess.
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we take a 5-minute recess. All in favor of taking a 5-minute recess, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion fails. The motion on the floor reads that the Streator FFA chapter hosts a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12th, 2023 at the county fairgrounds. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Sentinel.
I put my full support to this motion. For these reasons, it's a great bonding experience and a fun activity for kids that may have never been to the petting zoo before. So I encourage you all to vote yes on this motion.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Advisor.
I move to refer this motion to a committee of 3. The chair appoints the chair and will be brought back at the next meeting.
Second.
Has been properly moved and seconded that we refer this motion to a committee of 3. This motion is debatable, is amendable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Madam Treasurer.
I rise in agreement to this motion. I think referring this to a committee is a great idea because we could talk over the cost and fundraise if we need to. So I encourage the floor to vote yes.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Advisor.
Being the maker of this motion, I feel that it is very important that we refer this motion to a committee. Because we would be able to further research like the best animals for small children and the best animals that would be calm around those children to keep our children as safe as possible. For that reason, I urge you all to vote yes.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Secretary.
I disagree with this motion. I feel we can make an educated decisions by ourselves and not need a committee. So I strongly encourage everybody to vote no.
Is there any more discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Vice President.
as I do see Mr. Secretary's point, I still am in opposition of this motion, as we don't need 3 more people just to decide whether or not if we should do this or not. And I feel that our chapter has enough evidence and data to support our motion. So for that reason, I encourage you guys to vote no on this motion.
Is there any more discussion? Discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, we will now move to vote. All in favor of referring this motion to a committee of 3, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion fails. The motion on the floor reads that the Streator FFA chapter hosts a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12th, 2023 at the county fairgrounds. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Advisor.
I encourage all of you floor members to vote yes with me on this motion. As this can be a very fun, even though it is costly, we can still have fun with friends and inviting those younger kids to this event. For that reason, I urge you all to vote with me.
Is there any more discussion? Discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, we will now move to vote. All in favor that the Streator FFA chapter host a petting zoo for the local grade school students on Friday, May 12, 2023 at the county fairgrounds, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay.
Nay.
Motion passes. Mr. Secretary, do you have a record of any new or unfinished business which would properly come before this meeting?
I have none, Mr. President.
Does any member or guest know of any new or unfinished business which should now be transacted? We are about to adjourn this meeting of the Streator FFA chapter. As we mingle with others, be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I now declare this meeting adjourned.
All right. Mr. President, we'll start with your questions. One of the privileges of the president is the proper use of the gavel. A single tap of the gavel can represent several actions. Please name one of these actions.
Calls members to sit.
Okay. What is the purpose of a main motion?
To introduce new business to the assembly.
Thank you. Mr. Vice President, what is the major difference between postpone definitely and postpone indefinitely?
Postpone if indefinitely kills the main motion, while postpone definitely adjourns till a farther time or date.
Okay. Is the motion to postpone indefinitely debatable or amendable?
It is debatable but not amendable.
Thank you. Madam Sentinel, most organizations other than the FFA do not have a Sentinel. What are your responsibilities as a Sentinel?
My responsibilities are to welcome members and guests, assist the president in maintaining order, keep all equipment in proper condition, and help with ceremonies, and also assist in refreshments.
Okay. Who has the right to be the first to debate a motion?
The maker of the motion.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer, during a session, a member calls for a division of assembly. What should the chair do if it was clear that the assembly voted in an obvious majority?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Absolutely. During a session, a member calls for a division of assembly. What should the chair do if it was clear that the assembly voted in an obvious majority?
The chairman should pass the motion.
Okay. If a chair does allow for a division of assembly vote, how must that vote be taken?
By a standing vote or a raise of hands.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Secretary, your required motion was to recess. Please give 2 reasons for needing a recess.
One reason to need a recess is to take a break and collect all your thoughts. Another reason to take a recess is to use the restroom.
Okay. How can a motion to recess be amended?
The duration of the recess.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Reporter, every officer is important to the success of the FFA chapter. What do you feel are the major responsibilities as the reporter for your FFA chapter?
To publish your chapter scrapbook and serve as the chairman for POA.
Okay. Given the 3 ranked motions that were required today, which were postpone indefinitely, recess, and refer to a committee, put these 3 motions in order of precedence from highest to lowest.
postpone indefinitely, commit, refer, and recess.
Thank you. And Mr. Advisor, please, give 2 ways that members can become part of a committee.
By being voted onto the committee and being asked to join the committee or referred to the committee.
Okay? Name 2 things that should be included in a motion to refer to a committee.
How many members will be on the committee that they are referred to, and who decides the members in committee.
Okay. Thank you very much. You can leave your cards where they're at, and you are free to go. Great job.